Welcome to the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host right here is Kyle Heath. How you doing, man? Good to see you again. This is the show where we basically cover gaming industry-related news of the last week. And at the start of every episode, we do a little bit of a filler and try to figure out what each other have been up to. And I got some updates for the overall Discord server and stuff I'm excited about in terms of news. But before we get into that, what have you been up to, Kyle? How you doing?
Well, maybe we chilling, baby. We chilling. Bro, it's been a good week.
Heck
I
yeah.
think so. It's big, getting a lot done. Um, Also, I played a couple games. Most of the games I played this week were actually like Nintendo Wii games. Since I talked about last week, I was fixing some like
You
controllers.
did,
So I
yeah.
had a ton of Wii remotes I bought, and I was fixing a lot of those. So it's gotten to the point now where all the ones I could fix are fixed. So it's just testing them and making sure they work. Then eventually the idea, of course, is to resell them. So it's kind of just I want to do some extensive testing before I list them just to make sure they're solid. So I had like a couple of the Motion Plus remotes that I had fixed up, so I was testing out like Wii Sports Resort and kind of those like Motion
Nice.
Plus games. And so I was playing that. I hadn't played Wii Sports Resort in I don't know how long, but I was having a lot of fun. I played a couple of rounds of like golf and played like frisbee and stuff like that. So I even did archery. I busted up the nunchuck and did some archery. That was a lot of fun. It's one of those things like it was really fun. I didn't realize how difficult like the last stages and like the course I did were, but it was like I did like beginner too. I think I just did the beginner like thing, but like the
Oh,
last
nice.
stage I like missed like every arrow because I just wasn't like arcing it correctly. But
I,
it was pretty
yeah,
fun.
when you said you were gonna test it, I was just like, like how are you gonna throw it against the wall or like at a TV? Remember how everybody used to do that without the straps?
Yeah, no. That's the thing. I want to try. I'm gonna make sure I try to sell a strap with each controller. Then again, I don't know that. I mean, it's like there's some games where I feel like it's necessary, but there's also I feel like there's some people that don't even use them. It's like they have the strap, they'll just either take it off or just do something with it. But I don't know. So, but I try to sell a complete package, so we'll see. But yeah, so it's testing that, and so far so good. I think with most of them. There's only one that ended up having like a battery issue. And it was like when I moved the batteries or I was like aggressively moving the remote, it would like disconnect. So that wasn't good. But everyone else didn't have an issue with that. So yeah, so I have to check that one. But yeah, I played some Wii Sports Resort. I didn't have a chance to play like too much else. I wanted to try a couple of the games. So I'll probably be doing that some this week to test
Good
everything
idea.
out. But yeah, it's been fun. A lot of Wii, but it's fun. The most of the gaming I think this week for me. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else for me. But yeah, and then of course outside of that, we got the sports, baby. We could
Oh
play.
yeah,
It's
dude.
playoff football season, so I'm kind of tapped in on that.
I'm right there with you.
Um, um, and yeah,
That and
it's
hockey.
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's getting crazy too because it's like after football, it's like a couple months, and then like playoff hockey and basketball. So it's like there's just a lot of more playoff sports coming too. So it's like or it's thing about spring. It's like I feel like the fall's like crazy for sports, and then like spring happens, there's like a little bit of a lull, and then it's like heading in spring summer is like more playoff stuff. So it gets kind of
Nice.
crazy, and
Yeah, that's very true.
and are in that period. So yeah, it's pretty nice. But yeah, so did some of that, doing some of the first stuff. That's about it. I don't know. You played more Rocket League this week, Mike? Anything
No,
crazy?
dude. I actually didn't play any Rocket League at all. Now that I think about it, like a couple of things that I ended up playing is Fortnite Rocket Racing, which I guess you could say is Rocket League in a way,
Yeah.
Rocket League inspired at least. But I didn't really play that too often. It really just came down to playing the finals a lot. I was streaming that a
Oh,
bunch.
that's true.
I
Yeah.
got on, yeah, I got on Halo 2 for like a little bit, a couple hours, but I think I'm irritated to the point where I'm just like, dude, I need a break. I just need to walk away from it for a little
And then
bit.
the final showed up, so now you have
Yeah,
something
the
to play.
finals the finals is looking really good. I'm really excited about that. That also inspired me to get back into streaming, and then that got me down into a rabbit hole of like restreaming because there's been a whole
Uh,
bunch of Twitch updates that some people might be aware of with their level of like transcoding that they're starting to do and the different encoders, which is good. They're a little bit late to the game. YouTube's had it for a while now for the new GPUs, but it's good to see that they're adding it. And I'm just falling into that. And then, like I was showing you earlier before we started recording about how I'm pretty excited that I got the vertical format set up. I got all the bit rates correct for like streaming to YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. So I got really excited when I had a funny moment. I sent you the video, and it was like directly taken from Twitch, and it just looks pixelated and like trash. And I'm like, dude, I can't use this. I can't just post this online. It's not gonna work. Um, Never mind the fact that I did ultimately put it on my YouTube channel for gaming.
Yeah.
Uh, but it is what it is. I realized I was like, let me get the better quality, like actually put in a little bit more of an effort. I haven't streamed in a while, and that's been on my mind a lot. I also like speaking of sports, man. I went to the AHL Classic outside game in Charlotte. Watch the Checkers win. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, just doing the same thing as you, man. Just watching a little bit of NFL, the English Premier League. They also Everton played in the FA Cup. Watch that,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Got that
And
win,
oh yeah,
baby. Got that
yeah,
win.
and
Let's go.
the other thing that we should probably say for like the people that are listening at the start of the episode is I got myself an RSS feed into the Discord. So now we have a bot posting every hour 20 articles and categorizing them with four different categories, and they're posting articles that if anybody that like listens to this podcast or watches on YouTube or Spotify and they want to actually see or get articles curated to them, we have the RSS feeds readily available in the Discord along with the bots posting. And it's still a work in progress to get them like looking good, but I think what we have so far is pretty nice.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I've been enjoying it. We were like, I mean, we were playing around most of this afternoon, like with some of the like the custom like layouts and stuff that you had for some of the feeds, which is pretty dope. Just to see like a running. I even like made an Apple shortcut that essentially gives me a menu
Yeah, I
where I
saw
can
that. It
select
was
a
cool.
topic and it'll load that page in Safari, so I can just go directly to that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it gives you something
Yeah.
to do. Like if I'm if I'm bored or something and I just want to like use the bathroom or something like that, I can just like go on and be like, oh,
Oh
what's new
yeah.
right now in
Yeah.
gaming news, and just click that and click a
Yeah.
topic, and just dive, and then you can click on a title and it just brings you right to the article. So
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. There's basically like two mindsets that I had with it, right? So initially, you and I had been doom scrolling Google News and
Yeah,
like pulling up 15 different uh, video game websites that are like curated for the topics that we talk about and react to. And I think what we have now is like we have a bot that basically, what do you say, logs the like by posting, it's automatically logging the articles when they're posted that day,
yeah,
which helps for us to like sort it because News sometimes you can't find articles that are longer than or they're older than like 2 or 3 days.
yeah.
So it's like, dang, man. And I don't want to doom scroll on like Dextero because they post like 50 articles every minute.
It
Like
seems
same thing
like
with The
yeah,
Verge. Like there's so much stuff going on. So it's like now I've curated it to be gaming only. And unfortunately, as I mentioned to you, is gambling also counts as gaming.
yeah,
So I was able to at least like get the gambling stuff out of there. So if it mentions casinos, I took it out of there. But casinos like and microtransactions are usually used in the same articles. So
yeah,
it's like we might miss some stuff here and there. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to I think we've been seeing more. I've been have you noticed a difference? I've noticed a difference with like stuff I've been trying to find. And I think it's more curated, like everything's more and more purposeful, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
for what we're
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. It's definitely just for the first couple days here. It's nice to see everything. I noticed, I noticed too. Like I didn't really pay attention to like Game Rant, but like I noticed like Game Rant because I've seen a bunch of Game Rant articles, and a lot of them
Mhm.
are very opinion based. And so you read the title
Yeah.
and it has like a specific structure, and they kind of like I noticed they have a formula a lot of their stuff, and
Oh,
that's like
yeah.
I've seen like patterns and stuff throughout like different outlets. So it's kind of cool to see, kind of kind of real time what all that looks like, and yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
nice. And there's a lot of notifications, so unless you mute it, it's like you get
Oh,
bombarded.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm being kind and not showing the news dump channel. I'm keeping that to the moderators only.
yeah,
Because if I did, you're getting hit by 25 articles immediately.
well,
Like
yeah,
hour one, da, 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 all
yeah.
the notifications. It's oh
Yeah, just
yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like a Mario like notification or something crazy.
yeah. I'm saying it's
But
pretty wild. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna make our job easier and kind of just give us more to look at.
I think it's gonna not just make it easier, but make us better
Yeah.
because there's some stuff that we might
Facts.
miss, and to like just to keep like there are more than one website that covers news in the world. It doesn't always have to be in the United States or North America in our time zone. Like this is going to be working 24/7,
Yeah.
every
I mean,
hour,
yeah,
24/7.
I saw it yesterday morning too when I woke up and I saw there were like there was some notifications around like 5, 6 a.m. and I click on them. It's mostly EU outlets, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's when all
Yeah,
the EU outlets
yeah,
are doing their thing. Like they're already
yeah,
open, so yeah, makes
100%.
sense.
So, and honestly, it's not that bad now that I've actually filtered it out. Like since I filtered it out, which was about 8 hours ago or so,
Yeah.
it's not posting as often because it's more curated. Before it was like
Right.
anything
Yeah.
that had gaming industry in the title, it would just drop. It was like we were getting random stuff. We were getting a couple of outlets that like a dude was definitely one man shop that was renaming and then republishing, and everything else is the same. Did you notice that? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There's some odd
I'm not gonna
ones.
call him out by name, but I was just like, okay, let's ban that, like get that out of the way, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's only gonna get better with time.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Should be interesting.
Yes, sir. Well, how about we stop ranting? That was a long little intro, probably longer than we're used to doing. Just wanted to give a
Yeah,
channel update for anybody, and
channel
let's
update.
get
Yeah.
into the first article.
Yeah. I mean, too, it's also worth mentioning, Mike. Got a new piece of layout. I'll let the viewers decide what it is. It's pretty out there, but
Yes,
hey,
sir.
it's pretty nice. And hey, guess what? It actually did work. So Mike's tip
Yes,
beforehand. I had some
I
issues with this little thing down here beforehand, but Mike helped me.
Yeah, we have a little ticker for the people that are listening. We now have a ticker that you would see normally on like any major news reporting website where it just says breaking news. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's literally like right now, it'll say like 5 or 6 minutes. I can't see it right now because I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But you can attest to it, Kyle. It'll actually say like 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago,
Yeah.
or whatever for new posting. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like you showed me this and I was just like, what? Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, we have to add this. Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. So now there's a little more motion to the scene. So always good to have that. Nevertheless, we have a few articles to go through that we have picked out from from what was available. We're gonna start off with a little bit of an interesting one. Is we were kind of talking about the order, but I felt like this would be a good one to start with, and that is from gamesindustry.biz, one of the only gaming websites that I love. It's straight news. This is one of those sites, Mike, that is straight
love it.
news. There's no
It
like
is.
crap. There's nothing else like. There's
Straight
no
to the
like.
point.
There's nothing bright, shiny, like crazy. It's just we give you the news, and they do exclusive stories all the time. It's crazy.
Some NPR style.
For
Just
real.
what it is. Take it.
Listen, Microsoft is passing Apple as the most valuable company in the world. Shares were up 3% at the end of the U.S. financial day last Friday. This is coming from Sophie McAvoy?
Yeah, McAvoy.
McAvoy?
McAvoy. Yep. I know that because it's an Irish last name.
Wait, we got you, Sophie. We got you. Microsoft overtook Apple as the most profitable company at the end of last Friday's trading session in the U.S. As reported by CNBC,
You know?
Microsoft's lead came as a result of an event that took place in San Francisco where the company spoke about AI, highlighting an increase of traffic on GitHub, which Microsoft acquired in 2018 for $7.5 billion. Analysts from investment banking company Piper Sandler noted they were, quote, encouraged by the momentum around the most mature AI products. Microsoft shares increased 3%, $2.89 trillion by the end of the day, while Apple's dropped by the same amount, lowering its valuation to $2.87 trillion. AI is a core part of Microsoft's overall strategy. Last month, the company was accused of using AI to promote indie games.
Yeah. Remember that?
I don't remember
Xbox. Yeah, you will. They're saying Microsoft, but it's really Xbox under the banner. So it was Xbox being accused of the AI stuff to promote the indie games, or grabbing like other people's work and then redoing it in AI.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there are a bunch of studios underneath the Xbox umbrella that have done it in the past. One of them is 343 taking fan art and
Oh,
then changing it up a little bit in AI and then posting it on their Twitter handles. Kind of wild.
we will get into the 343 slander, at least right now, you
No,
know. But
I have too much to talk about.
but I will say,
But
The
Yep.
both of these companies, Mike, these are multi-trillion-dollar companies. Everyone knows them, right? I mean, they're household
Yes, sir.
names. They
Hmm.
probably always will be. But yeah, this is like you look at that. Oh, it passes Apple, and then you look at the two valuations. It's like, I mean, like I don't like it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's just like I don't know. It's hard for me to care because it's just like, all right, that's cool. Like, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft passes Apple. All right, good job. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's somewhat interesting to see, but at the same time, it's just like I don't know. It's just so like little. I feel like in terms of like trying to get the edge over one another. And I feel like there'll probably be a battle like this for some time. At least I think. Which is going to be
I
like
think there's
slight, bump in each one.
yeah. I think it's been like it's always been a battle. I think for a very long time, at least for the last like 10 years. Microsoft to me has always been the most profitable company in the world, just because it's like everybody needs their software. It seems,
Yeah,
and not everybody needs Apple software. Apple does have like a massive setup when it comes to like their products for sure, probably more than Microsoft. But it's like Microsoft is a software company at the end of the day, and now they're getting more and more into hardware. So it's I'm not too surprised by this. I think it's very interesting that AI is the reason for it though, or what they're saying is.
yeah,
And I didn't actually know that they bought GitHub. That's news to me.
yeah. Oh no,
So
I didn't remember when it first came out that they had bought a GitHub because I was like I just graduated college, and then
mhm,
like a couple months later they were like, oh, we're investing in open source. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I thought it
yeah,
was interesting. Yeah,
GitHub's very useful. I've like only recently started getting into it because of the whole soft modding stuff that I've been doing on the
yeah,
Xbox. There's like a lot of stuff is on it is on GitHub that you
yeah.
need,
Yeah. I mean,
and
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
it's where a lot of source codes, held. It's funny now too because there's different. I've used so many different repository tools, like and like version control tools since I've like gotten out of college. Whether it's like GitLab or Bitbucket, like there's a lot of variations of it.
Yeah,
But I know GitHub is very much like if you're doing something open source, most people just turn to GitHub because it is a good
yeah.
tool.
That's what I've noticed, and a lot of people are like creating profiles on there, like almost like a social media.
Yeah,
And just like getting a
yeah.
following. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's something too with it, like the developer sphere too, because like if you've ever gone to a GitHub profile, have you seen the little like the tiles for like days of
Yes.
activity? And there's some
Yeah.
people that like they'll either try to like make a design out of it. I've seen that a couple times. I've also seen people just try to like fill in each block, so they'll try and like they want to go hard in programming. They're like they make it a goal to try and fill like each block with a color, just so they have
That's
activity.
so interesting. Yeah, I love it. That's like an interesting like culture kind of thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very
Internet
weird.
culture is wild.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, I think AI too, like, it's just wild of where that's gonna be, like where that's gonna go, and there's like a lot, especially in tech. There's just like I feel like we're still at a point where there's kind of like we're kind of wondering what's gonna happen, and
Yes.
now that
Yeah.
we're seeing it everywhere, it's like it could get to a point where it gets scary, and so So I don't know. For me, it's like I try not to think too much into it, but it's like it can get pretty crazy. I feel like it could get really crazy.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how this year plays out, in particular, just the amount of layoffs and everything that's going on, and just the integration of AI into everything we do. Like Samsung released their new phone as well that's going to be integrated with AI like hand in hand. And I think that's going to be the future of all electronic devices. Like I could see Apple doing that in no time.
Yeah.
I don't have an Apple phone. Do they currently have that?
When
I
you
mean, for the most
like in terms of
like
AI, like what kind?
so one of the AI things that they have for the new Samsung phone is live translation on the phone. So if you're talking to somebody of a different language, it'll translate directly into your ear, and whatever you say will translate to them.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. No, as far as I know, Apple, I don't think they have that now. I mean, they're always behind, so it's kind of
Yeah,
we'll get that in two iOSs from now, I'm sure. But the
possibly.
closest
Yeah,
the closest thing we have now is when someone leaves a voicemail, it actually translates in real time what they're saying if you have your phone, if you're looking at your phone. That's
oh,
pretty
okay, that's
cool.
kind of cool.
That's kind of
Yeah,
that's the latest feature, like call feature. I think they've released is like the real time voicemail,
is it
which is cool. I've seen
translation
it.
or is it caption?
I don't think I think it's
Closed
just
caption.
caption. Like
Hmm.
that's all it does now. But I'm sure, like I said, I mean, like I'm saying, it'll be a couple of generations, but we're probably gonna get something like that,
Yeah.
in a couple of years.
Cool. Regardless, it's going to be interesting to see how these two companies battle it out as rivals. But yeah, gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty nuts. I mean, I'm just I know we're talking and stuff. I keep like every now and again I'll glance at our ticker and I'm just like, oh, PS2 games that have aged well. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
hopefully it's not too distracting. I think it's interesting though, just to see like these are the articles we miss, ladies and gentlemen. Like, so
Oh
this is
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of stuff done.
Well, the whole mindset is like a little sidetrack. The whole mindset is that you should be interested in all news if you're listening to us in the first place or watching our
True.
videos. So the ticker's like for people just watching. Like
It's for the
so
real news and gamers. You know what I'm saying? Dude?
yeah, if you want to see stuff and then you can be like, oh crap, that's cool. And then they hit pause and then they can search it up, go read an article, and then come back to us. Like,
True. Yeah,
yeah.
I like it.
Or join the Discord and get the ticker yourself. Probably one of
I
the
mean,
two.
hey, you just have it. I don't know. You open a browser. It'd be like 95% white space, and then the ticker. But
Yeah, that's true. True.
uh, yeah,
I can always publish the JavaScript code.
there you
So
go. You can import it into your own Discord if you know how to hack. You know what I'm saying?
that's a fact.
Well, we do have a lot of it's the world of hacking. It's crazy. I think the world of physical games we've talked about a couple times, right, Mike? And
Yes. Yeah.
and
So
Ubisoft made some announcements. I think we talk about it.
yeah, I'm gonna read this title and then I'm gonna describe a meme that I saw that was actually hilarious. Did you send it to me? You might have sent it to me.
Maybe.
But here it is. It's this article is coming from Kotaku by the writer John Walker, and it is titled "Ubisoft wants you to be comfortable in not owning your games." The latest rebranding of subscription services Ubisoft Plus. I'm gonna call it U Plus. It's gonna be easier.
Plus,
U
I like it.
Plus accompanies the release of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which has been apparently it got like review bombed and it was really bad, and then now it's finally out, so people are excited. I saw
Yeah.
some people playing it and they looked like they were actually having fun.
Yeah,
So
I heard mixed things. Yeah.
the meme I saw was genius. So it was one of the guys from The Office, the American show, and I can't remember his name for some stupid reason. It's been a while since I watched The Office, but basically the character is pointing at the top, and it's like it's in an office setting, obviously, and he has like a piece of paper that he's essentially going to write on, but you can like fold it up. What's it called? Like it's like a
Oh, like
presentation board, but like sheet of
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
So he's like, it's
Giant
a
canvas.
drawing. Yeah, it's a drawing, and it says like, if you don't own the game, and it peel it over, it's not piracy if you steal it. It's like it's just like that's true. If you don't own it, it's not piracy.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah. So silly. So let's go ahead and get into the article by on Kotaku. So with the pre-release of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown started, Ubisoft has chosen this week to rebrand to U Plus subscription services and introduce a PC version of the Classics tier at a lower price. And a big part of this, says the publisher's director of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, hopefully, is getting players comfortable, in quotes, with not owning their games. It's hard to keep up with how often Ubisoft has rebranded its online portals for its games with Uplay, Ubisoft Game Launcher, Ubisoft Connect, Uplay Plus, Uplay Passport, Ubisoft Club, and now Ubisoft Plus Premium and Ubisoft Plus Classics. All the names used over the last decade or so. It's also seemed faintly bewildering why there's a demand for any of them, given Ubisoft released only 5 non mobile games last year because everything got postponed indefinitely.
Crazy. You know what's
Yeah.
wild? They have all those names and stuff. But what we got Xbox Game Pass. We have I don't know what else like Steam. Like
Oh, dude.
it's like very
Oh,
simple conventions that are stuck to. And
oh, you got Xbox Game Pass, like the Ultimate Game Pass, like the Xbox app, which thank God they got rid of the companion app. The Xbox companion, oh, that was terrible. Um, the other one they had was there's also Epic Games, there's Steam, there's also let me see if I can actually just search launcher. Rockstar Games launcher. There's the Slippy launcher if you play Animele. Uh, there's Epic Games. What's the other one? Ubisoft has like 3 that I've had. Um, and there's one more. Oh yeah, EA Games. And there's stupid stuff that they have. They have like two
Yeah,
different ones. Like one
gameplay.
works, one doesn't, and it's
Yeah.
I hate it.
And,
I hate it.
I said about Microsoft, but they did actually change like their naming a little bit with their tiers recently. So it's like Xbox,
Yeah.
Game Pass Core, PC Core. Like I don't know, it is a little weird, I guess, in that regard. But maybe not the best
Just
example. But Ubisoft's out here.
yeah. So let's continue on. However, a demand there apparently is, says Tremblay in a interview with GI Biz. He claims the company's subscription service had its biggest ever month, October 2023, and that the service has had millions of subscribers and over 1 billion hours played. Of course, a lot of this would be a result of Ubisoft's various moments of refusing to release games to Steam, forcing PC players to use its services, and likely opting for a month's subscription rather than the full price of the game they were looking to buy. But still, clearly people are opting to use it. But it remains strange why enough would want to subscribe. And at $18 a month, it's not cheap to a single publisher's output, which is, I didn't even know it was that much. That's crazy. That's not a diss of Ubisoft games, although you might want to apply your own. I like this article. He's spicy. Something that we would be as true were to Activision, Blizzard, or EA Games. That's the other one, Battle.net. Forgot about
Battle.net.
that
Yep.
launcher. Yeah, annoying. You can subscribe to Game Pass or PlayStation Plus and get a broad range of hundreds of games from dozens of publishers, or you can pay significantly more to only get the games made by one single publisher, and indeed a publisher with a very distinct style of game. TV networks and movie companies tried this, and those numbers are thinning out fast, with many already compromising by returning their show to the larger streamers. Yeah,
Yeah.
no crap. No crap.
It's
This
the
is what
truth,
happens
man.
when you add commodity to everything,
Yeah.
modify everything. How do you take it so far?
I mean, yeah, spitting facts. It's. I mean, we've already hit to that too. I think just the amount of launchers and stuff. It's like it's exhausting. And so, I mean, this thing, like one that always comes to mind for me is the Bethesda launcher. That did not survive, and it was like they wanted to do
No.
like with Fallout 76. That was the big thing. Is like you had to get on Bethesda launcher. Like it was great, and then eventually they were like, "Oh no, we're killing the launcher," because it turns out people don't want another launcher on their computer, and like people aren't
Yeah.
really playing the game. And we're moving it to Steam, so I mean, here's how to transfer your saves and everything, because
Yeah.
like we have to kill this. That was another
And
just
Bethesda is
failure.
also a part of Xbox too.
Yeah,
And there are other ones too. Like Luna is one, or Amazon has their own game launcher as well.
yeah,
And I think that one you even have to do like through the web browser. Dude, this stuff is trash. I think every gamer that's ever had multiple games from different publishers and has to deal with this is upset
yeah.
and always has been. It's
Yeah,
like I'm just preaching to the choir.
yeah. I think I will say the coolest game launcher was probably the GOG launcher. It was like Galaxy Games, whatever. I forget what the acronym is. But that launcher was cool. I don't know if it's like this anymore, but I remember years ago was you could essentially load different libraries into just one launcher and then just see everything there.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. But yeah.
it's silly. So, let's continue a little bit further. So, what's more chilling about all this, however, is when Tremblay moves on to how Ubisoft wishes to see a consumer shift, similar to that of the market for CDs and DVDs, where people have moved over to Spotify and Netflix instead of buying physical media to keep on their own shelves. Given that most people, while being a part of the problem, also think of this as a problem. It's so weird to see it phased as if some faulty thinking in the company's audience. Dude, before I even get into this next little section that obviously Tremblay has actually said, this is ridiculous because on Spotify, it's people are accepting of not owning the physical copies because it's a subscription service, but also similar to a radio station.
Yeah.
That's why TuneIn has been in existence for like ever, and SiriusXM. It's like, yeah, you're paying for the service, but you're paying to listen to certain things. This is just on demand, and people are okay with that. Same thing with like YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
You don't own the videos, but you're watching it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with ads.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's there. Same thing with Netflix. That's no difference than cable. Video games, like, what's he trying to do? Just imagine a blockbuster just completely empty and it's just digital codes, from like the 90s.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. Um I don't know. I think too when I get more into like looking at like retro games and stuff like that. it's like it just
Yeah.
that physical media, and I know you've talked about it too. Just having that physical
Oh,
copy is like so. There's just something special about that, and so it just sucks that we're losing that.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think the ultimate problem with the physical copies of games outside of Nintendo, it seems like they're all requiring you to be connected to the internet regardless of
right? Yeah.
what you have set up. Like if you're trying to play any Xbox game in the modern era and you want to play with your friends, you have to have internet to play with your friends in the same room. Like you
Yeah.
can't just connect two Xboxes together. You have to be connected to a server. That server is a piece of crap that's been outdated for the last like 8 years. It only gets worse every day. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, what the hell? Let me have my own server, or like let me just work locally. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely can. I mean, yeah, man. There's something that really sucks about that. Um, and it's just kind of I think it is kind of the new reality for a lot of this is just kind of we're going away from physical media. I mean, and to a certain extent, I can get it. I mean, because even like the new like I keep coming back to it, but that new Final Fantasy that's coming out on PS5 and it's multi-disc, it is insane to me. Like that's got to be a
Yeah,
huge game. It's like even, and it goes back to other articles I've seen recently about like devs like the reason for like a lot of I think a lot of studios now maybe like that struggle. It's like they work for years on a game because it takes that long and a ton of resources to make a fully complete title now. And it's like if that
yeah,
doesn't do well, it's like, well, you're just kind of like screwed unless you have like
that's a good
some
point.
other kind of way to make money. So it's just it's kind of the reality of it. And so you make these giant games and games are only getting bigger, it feels like. So it's like
That's
it just
true.
gets
Yeah,
harder to print the physical media because I don't think physical media is like able to, at least from what I can see, is like kind of able to keep up with the demand that it's needed.
you're
Um,
basically gonna have to start getting like M.2 drives
yeah,
coming
just
with
like
your
baby
game.
ones, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, something like
baby
that.
ones.
It's yeah, it's crazy. I will say it's cool, like, but like just like the games I have like on my shelf back here, it's just cool to like go back there, just like open up the game, be like, oh yeah, I still own this. Like it's like
Oh yeah,
no one could
like
take that from me.
that's the thing. Having the old consoles, having the old games, like I have an original Xbox at my feet, literally on the ground,
Yeah,
and it's like it's so nice for me to just go over here, grab any of the games that I have, or the ones that I have on the hard drive, and just load it up, no issues.
yeah,
And you can't really do that anymore. It's very
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah,
The only, like I said, the only place you can really do that is like Nintendo.
yeah. Yeah. And like, I'm sure we talked about it before and I hear about it all the time, but like I think it's more and more becoming more and more prevalent each year of like trying to like bolster game preservation, especially for like older generations too. It's
It
like
is,
we
yeah,
hear about all the game stores like Xbox 360, I think shutting down kind of their main store,
yeah,
and it's like there's a lot of digital only games that were there, and it's like there's people that
yeah. They're
there's luckily people that have they have like a lot of those games, and I'm sure there's kind of a way to still find a way to share that. But I mean it's like a
there
lot of that
is.
stuff you don't own it. It's like it kind of sucks because like a lot of the media could just be lost, and there's a lot of great games out there that weren't on disc. And um yeah, so that's why
Yeah,
I'm such a like proponent of emulation, and why I have like loved just to get into it more, because it's like it's the only way that we're going to be able to play a lot of these games at a certain point, I feel like. So it's
yeah.
important to
I
kind of understand it and try and get involved and relive some of your history.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. There's really not much like there's not much more to add on. It's really unfortunate. I think the younger generations of gamers that have never had to deal with that before, there's been a whole new generation of gamers coming up that never owned a physical copy in their
Yeah,
life.
it's true. Yeah,
Just downloading it online, buying online. It's like they think they own it on the hard drive, but it's like the moment those servers get like turned off or taken down, it's over. It's like it ain't gonna work.
yeah,
It's like, what
no,
do you do
the
then?
game, yeah, the game is just not gonna work. It's like, yeah, man, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's I know that especially like the older I'm getting, the more it's like, oh, this is this could become a problem. So it's just like
Oh, it's a
it'll
hundred
be
percent an
it'll
issue.
be
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see kind of how things evolve and in the future, because it'd be I don't know, it'd be cool to actually own the titles.
Yeah. It's it is what it is. But I think what we'll finish with on this article is what Tremblay ended up saying. And it's just a quote taken directly from the interview at GI Biz. So one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at any time, at another time, your progress file is still there. There's not been that's not been deleted. You don't lose what you built in the game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. It's like, so you want us to continually pay a subscription in perpetuity, and the moment you stop paying the subscription, you lose access to the game. It's kinda
Yeah,
like holding joy hostage
yeah,
in a
it's
way.
true. I mean, and I will say, like, and this is no dock at like Game Pass or anything like that, because I think they're great services, and I think the fact that you can instantly, for a small fee each month, have access to a library that you can share with the other people that have the subscription. So like you all
Yes. Yeah.
instantly have a lot of games you could probably play together, and and there's certainly a lot of fun to be had there. So it's not necessarily discounting those services, but yeah, especially for like kind of newer AAA titles. Um,
Yep.
it's nice to just be able to have a copy of that and just know that you have it forever, right? So hopefully, we could, get to a model at some point that'll work for that. That'll help like, preserve that because yeah, it's certainly something that's concerning, especially as we see a bunch of services shut down across older consoles and everything. So
Yeah. I think the main issue with the subscription, well, I think the one proponent to have subscription services is what you said, but also the access to have your game anywhere remotely while the servers are on.
yeah,
So like Game Pass is great because it's perfect for people that want to test out a game for the first time.
yeah,
You just want to give
definitely,
like a trial run. That is fantastic. You can also check out all the new indie devs because they have a great indie program for people to come in there and like unleash new games. And it's
yeah,
like normally you wouldn't buy an indie game, but if
right,
it's included in the Game Pass, it's like that gives them an opportunity to make some money.
exactly,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's like new experiences as well.
yeah.
Dude, just the absolute convenience of having it on all my consoles and then load up on any device from wherever I am. It's
I mean,
fantastic.
yeah, it's
And I love
unbeatable,
it.
and
Yeah,
and
it
that's
really
certainly
is.
and that's certainly another aspect of that. But yeah, I mean, and there's I've heard interviews from like developers and stuff all the time that say like just the ability to have their game in front of hundreds of thousands of millions of people like at an instant, and then
Yeah.
having in front of all those eyes is like something that has never been the case until now. So yeah.
Yeah, crazy value right there.
Yeah. And they, if it's success, like, hey, they get paid a lot of money and they continue making games. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Speaking of portable games,
But
I
yeah.
think this would go in pretty solidly, I think.
Yeah. Listen, kind of in a lot of my free time recently, I've been seeing like a bunch of whether it's like, gaming related mods or like repair stuff for like older consoles, stuff like that. Like I've been really getting into hardware side of things and kind of just seeing what's possible in terms of hardware. So when I saw this article, I felt like I had to jump on it. Um, there is there was a YouTuber. This is coming from Kotaku. Kyle Barr wrote this article. What's up, Kyle? I like that name. You know what I'm saying? The
Of course.
portable. This gentleman made a portable PS5 console. He said it's Kyle said it's quote a wild portable alternative to PlayStation Portal. That is. It's definitely not a handheld, but it would easily fit in a backpack. I'll read this in the perspective of Mr. Barr because you know what? I don't know if he says I, but I don't feel like playing like juggling words today. So, do you want a slim PlayStation 5? I ask you that question, Mike, open ended.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Pretty cool. Like I don't know. The systems are pretty neat, but anyway, how about one that's so thin it could easily slide into your backpack's laptop sleeve? A little more intriguing,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah, I'm listening.
That's what one DIYer managed to do with his base PS5. Again, showing up Sony, which still lags behind in the begrudging ultra mobile handheld console market. It's kind of crazy. I watched I watched the video. So there's like a nice like 20-minute video on his YouTube channel where he kind of disclosed all the details behind it. And and he mentioned in the video it's been like 10 years since we've had like a portable PlayStation console of any kind, that's
Yeah, it's
released,
true.
right? So
Yeah.
It's been quite some time, and I didn't think about that until it was mentioned in the video. I was like, I guess it has been, a decade at this point. Um, However, YouTuber Matthew Perks of the channel DIY Perks latest video shows how he managed to take the regular PlayStation 5 console and slim it down by an incredible degree, all while still keeping just as cool as the console is in with a massive heatsink fan and shell. He avoided his warranty in the process, so that's it.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
that's a guarantee,
you
dude.
open up your process, you open up your console, you know what you're doing. But yeah, again, super long video. I'll just continue on with some of the article that we can discuss. What's incredible about this build is just how much Perks was able to take all the base components of a PS5 and translate them into such a thin form factor. He uses the console's actual motherboard, which, ignoring the power supply, is pretty much everything the console needs to run as a PS5 once connected to a display. While the outside remained unchanged, the original PS5 has had marked changes internally throughout the near 4-year lifespan. Most importantly, the motherboard has shrunk over time, while the console's heatsinks are redesigned to add more heat pipes and remove shielding. Perks had to rebuild the heatsink and fan design from the ground up, but once he did, he claimed in testing the CPU was only reaching about 42 degrees Celsius, though it's likely hotter internally. That was with the fans running at full blast, so the console could easily reach a normal 55 to 60 degrees Celsius. It normally does under load without drowning out the area of fan noise. It's also quite a beast. Instead of an LCD panel, Perks put in a 14-inch 4K OLED display, which he yoinked right off a busted Alienware laptop with two 5-watt drivers on a miniature subwoofer for the sound that comes out of two stereo side speakers. Now, the elephant in the room is obviously the battery. On average, the regular PS5 draws 200 watts at full load, so Perks came up with a 250-watt power brick and his own custom cabling to complete the job. And that way, the device still needs a full wired connection at all times, though it does, he only needs to set it up near an outlet to enjoy the full capacity of his PlayStation. What Perks ends up with is a device that could look like any device you pick up off the shelf, but it's less than 50% as big as even the newer, slimmer PlayStation, all with a high-end inbuilt screen. Of course, this isn't exactly what one might expect from today's handheld consoles, which are much smaller and much less capable than a full PlayStation 5. However, Sony's last attempt at portable gaming was a $200 PlayStation Portal, a streaming-only device that, while fine for what it is, hardly ticks any boxes of what players expect from today's portable paradigm. Perks' product is far bigger than your average Steam Deck, though he did show how this design is better for multiplayer experiences than the small 7-inch screen usually is. Sony has long been burned by the PlayStation Vita, its last real attempt at a handheld experience. Roleplay doesn't have nearly the same appeal as a dedicated console capable of playing your PS games offline and on the go. We know that Sony can make such a device, but we have our doubts while we've ever have one. We haven't doubts for ever have one in our hand, at least not anytime soon. I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna play the video a little bit, kind of while we talk. This is it was quite the feat. I was like looking through. He kind of like walked through the design, kind of had the iterations that went through. But well, I won't get into too many details. But essentially, it's like he designed like a whole like heatsink from scratch, and like he sourced one out, and then he had to go through a couple iterations to dissipate the heat correctly so that it would actually keep the device stable.
That's so crazy.
And he even like created his own like little like kind of nickel plated kind of, I guess, I don't know, like
heatsink.
Yeah, heatsink cap for the CPU, and it was pretty cool how he did that because he did it like he like essentially took a copper one and just nickel plated it himself, and then like added the liquid metal and everything for cooling. And then he showed kind of making the cable and how that looks. It looks pretty neat. It's like a little and it looks like it's just a little cylinder cable. He just plugs in the back, and then he has full power.
It's so wild.
I mean, when he's showing off the device, I mean, this thing, it just looks beautiful. It's like this nice 4K OLED display on this, and then the whole console's behind it. And it's like pretty quiet too, in terms of, probably your typical laptop or PlayStation. So, but yeah, it's a fully working thing, and it's a fully working PlayStation 5, and you can just take it wherever and have it on the desk, and all of a sudden you're playing that. But yeah, he was like showing some, they were playing Rocket League on at one point, and so it's like a nice split screen, and it worked pretty well. It looked beautiful. So yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting because you see a lot of stuff like this, and you're just like, I hope to be this smart one day. You know what I'm saying? Where you could just like think up a design like this because this is insane. The amount of time that probably went into this, just coming up with something like that is wild. But yeah, but I think the design itself could be interesting. I don't know how many people would actually buy it if Sony was to manufacture something like this, but yeah, this design is certainly out of the box. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is incredible. I'm looking at it and dude, this oh my gosh, I just had an epiphany. What have I been saying for the last 2 years? Take the PlayStation and put it inside a Sony TV.
It can be
This could
done.
be
Just saying.
this could be this is a prototype right here, man.
Yeah, it
This
doesn't
is
have to be a
sick.
big TV, right? Just get a little like portable TV and then smack it in.
So sick. Yeah, I had no idea about this. I saw it in passing with the bot like posting in the Discord and trying to check it out, but this is phenomenal quality.
Yeah,
Um, I'm definitely trying to watch this in totality. So it's 18 minutes long. It's at DIY Perks on YouTube, and the title is called "Building the World's First PlayStation 5 Tablet Edition."
yeah,
It's incredible, man. This is like as an engineer, this is blowing my mind,
yeah. No,
and I really want to
yeah.
get into this.
As yeah, as like I'm mainly software, but as a like aspiring kind of like DIYer, it's interesting to see kind of I always get mind blown by like these different things, whether it's this or like just modifying any sort of console, making it your own. It's like it's always interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely is. There's really not much else to say. I just want one. And
Yeah, I know.
is he
It's
selling this?
shut up. It's an interesting prototype, but yeah, I think but yeah, I mean there really isn't much more than that. It's just like I mean, I feel like to fully take this in, you'd probably have to watch the video segment. But I mean, it's just it looks really interesting, and again, it's just something that is like this guy deserves like all the views on this video because it's just
Oh,
so impressive.
100%. Yeah. I mean, right now he has 1.2, 1.3 million views in a 2-day period. Totally deserved.
Yeah,
And this article has been posted for the last 5 hours of our like finding.
yeah,
So this is pretty
yeah,
fascinating, man. I'm very excited to see if this inspires Sony to be like, oh yeah, there might be a market for this. This video went viral.
yeah.
Wait, don't we have like
And they
a
can like
TV line?
snack a TV in it
Like
and like have a little TV, and then we can be like, oh wait, into podcasts we have to like credit them because they came up with the idea, and then
I've
Mike
been
makes all
saying
the
it
money and
forever,
then just
dude.
leaves. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna leave.
I will say this though. DIY perks, you got my subscription. That's all I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah, that's exactly what I just did while you were talking. I was like, click,
say. You
switch
got my
profile
sub.
account, subscribe.
I'm all about it,
Um,
man. Dude, it's so crazy. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's this one channel too. I forget the name. I'll have to tell you like afterwards because like this is another one where like it's a guy that builds like he built like an entire like acrylic shell for like a PS1 and like he had to take the exact measurements and like build it out with like all his equipment and like he 3D printed a bunch of parts. It's like it was really sick. I'll have to say that because it's another kind of
oh
like
yeah,
engineering feat. I feel like the stuff
dude,
he
I'm
was
all
making.
about
But
engineering feats for sure. I got a lot of stuff I could send you as well.
yeah, it's
Um,
true. Yeah,
you,
yeah. I always want to learn more about this stuff, so I'm always down for that kind of stuff. But yeah,
there is something like kind of odd about like I won't say odd, but one of the top comments on this article is actually pretty good. It's like, yeah, Mizoku Ranma, whoever you might be, wrote, "I'm impressed. I feel like Sony's failure to do anything like this is a lot more related to the lack of interest rather than a lack of talented engineers." It's like, yeah, that's probably
yeah,
true.
it
Sony
is
makes
probably true. Yeah,
great products.
yeah,
They just don't have anybody up at the top saying, "Hey, take the Sony PlayStation and put it in a Sony TV, and we'll put Sony speakers there, and then we'll all of a sudden have an all-in-one kit for anybody to game on."
yeah. I was thinking, but yeah, it's and you got to think there's got to be some engineers at Sony that are super creative, but it's just
They
it
definitely
just
do.
doesn't. Their ideas can't make it out because either it's not viable business or it's just not viable like I don't know, technical overhead or whatever, supply chain overhead. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it probably stops along the chain somewhere. But yeah, it'd be super cool to just like, I mean, this kind of stuff when someone has free time and
yeah,
they're super smart, they can do something like this. And yeah, it'd be cool to see stuff like experiments like this from companies like Sony. But they won't put a PlayStation on the TV, so like, what can we expect from 'em, like
I don't expect much from Sony anymore. I really don't. Just proprietary stuff that they're always gonna keep tagging on their products.
huh.
Proprietary hard drive. proprietary disk drive.
Listen,
like what?
Yeah, disk drive's kind of whack. Xbox with the whole memory system's kind of whack with their like kind of proprietary memory banks for the back of the Series X. But you know what?
Oh yeah, you can get around that though. I'm not gonna tell you how.
Oh, okay.
But you can get around it.
Okay, I see.
So.
I don't know the Series X, so I don't particularly care too much. But hey, one day if I buy it, I'm sure I'm going to get the console one day when it's when it becomes like retro, quote unquote. Anyway, besides the point, Mike. You know who is out here doing creative things and changing the game for how we detect cheaters, handle them?
Somehow, Activision Blizzard. Is that who you're gonna go with?
Somehow, Call of Duty of all games, getting creative, and they continue to be creative with how they handle their anti-cheat.
Yes, it's about time too, because cheating in video games is running rampant. I'm seeing it at all levels of games, at all different platforms. It's getting out of control. But this article is coming from Tech Radar, one of the many places that we've always checked out, and it is Demi Williams is actually the writer of this article. So the title of the article is Call of Duty's anti-cheat update will close down the game if it detects aim assist on mouse and keyboard, which is pretty sick. And I'm wondering if they're actually going to go into explaining how that works. Now, I don't know if you know or not, because you usually play mouse and keyboard, don't you?
Yeah, mostly.
So what some people will do is that when your computer senses an input on your gamepad where aim assist is definitely going to have it, your controller, people will tape or like have a discharge button or something on their controller so it's always active, and then they'll play with mouse and keyboard. So the game thinks you're playing with the controller because it'll sense the controller input
Crazy.
first, but you can override it with the mouse and keyboard. Now, there are several games that I know of that have done away with that pretty simple, like on easy anti-cheat. So let's see what Call of Duty has in store. So Call of Duty's anti-cheat software will now detect if a player is using aim assist on mouse and keyboard, and it will shut down their game. In a recent post shared on Twitter or X via IGN, Activision announced that its anti-cheat technology, commonly known as Ricochet, to players has been improved and now features the capability to catch cheaters in the act. Our security detection systems now target players using tools to activate aim assist while using a mouse and keyboard. The Call of Duty application will close if detected, the post reads. By the way, there are several, remember the Cronus Zen that we talk about so many times, or the Zim? People are plugging in mouse and keyboards into those things and repathing themselves to controllers. So
Dude.
I wonder if that'll actually pick it up. And
These
in the article it shows. Let's get into it.
dude.
Oh, I see it all the time. Repeated use of these tools may lead to further account action. Please permaban, hardware ban, IP ban, fry their CPU. Anyways, by the way, side note about frying CPUs. YouTube now knows when you're using ad blocker, and it is forcing your CPU to sweat more, and is sending unnecessary stuff to it. Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
fun little fact. Yeah, so don't use Chrome and turn off hardware acceleration, or you're gonna get cooked. All right, let's get into it. So this new Ricochet update applies to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2, and Warzone on the PC. The console version of these games, however, features a built-in aim assist, which offers players some help when aiming with the analog sticks, a topic of discussion in the community that some believe give others an unfair advantage. The good old keyboard and mouse versus gamepad debate. We could have that debate forever, divide our entire audience. So both PlayStation and Xbox consoles also allow users to plug in with the keyboard and mouse via USB, allowing them to play games that way. But when done so with Call of Duty, the console's aim assist will detect the new device and be turned off, as it should. You shouldn't have aim assist on mouse and keyboard. There are third-party. It is. A lot of people brain dead don't realize that. There are third-party controller emulators like Zim and Cronus Zen that can be used to combat this, making the game think the player is using a PlayStation or Xbox controller when they're not. This, for obvious reasons, isn't allowed. Activision cracked down on cheaters last year by providing a host of new updates to its Ricochet technology over months, including the ability to detect third-party hardware and other security measures. In June 2023, it introduced hallucinations, which spawns fake players to trick cheaters into exposing themselves using the anti-cheat software. That's awesome. And in November, added a measure to disable cheaters' parachutes. I saw the clips of people jumping out of the airplanes and just plummeting to the ground and dying
Yeah,
instantly.
and then they'll land on they get res on the building, and then they fall off the building,
Oh,
kills them again. It's like it's the
hell yeah.
funniest thing ever. It's like their fall like acceleration is immediately turned up to like 1,000,000, so they just
Oh,
die
I
on
love it.
everything they fall off of.
This is what needs to happen. You don't ban them. You just troll the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Because how many times, like, dude, there were kids. I thought they were joking, but they were dead serious. They were taking videos on their phone of like that happening to them, and they're posting it online, complaining that their game was broken and how bad Call of Duty is. And you can see a Cronus in like the bottom left hand corner of the screen. It's like, bro, what is he doing?
Yeah. I saw
And
one
he
that was
just gets
complaining.
trolled.
Yeah, like I saw another one that was complaining that had like blatant cheats, and like he said, I don't get what's happening, and like he like captured a screen wrong, or like he
Oh
filmed it in a
yeah.
way where you saw like the boxes or whatever. It's like, dude,
Yeah, oh
it's,
yeah,
like, it's so
you're
funny.
talking about he was being briefed by another team where they were stacking, which is basically like all three players on the same team or in the same location.
Yeah,
So if you turn the corner, you insta die.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and he was complaining and like talking trash, and then after he dies, he like immediately started complaining. He's like, "Dude, what?
yeah,
So many people are cheating, dude.
yeah.
It's so crazy."
That's wild. It's wild. Yeah, like there was one guy that complained about getting team killed because there was like 3 or 4 guys
Yeah,
running up the
that's
stairs because they knew he was cheating, so they started hunting him
oh
down. And obviously, he couldn't
yeah.
kill them all at once. And like he was sitting there complaining when he was like blatantly cheating. Like, so funny. Oh,
Yeah, there were like when Halo Infinite was really popular, there were so many cheaters that came out of the woodworks and started cheating in there. But the Halo community's been so small, like so niche for so long now that
yeah,
everybody that like pretty much knows each other. So somebody new comes into the scene that nobody ever recognized, you're like, okay, what's the deal? Their initial reactions like maybe they're cheating, and then you find out it's like, okay, they were pro in another game or they were like high level
yeah.
in another game. Okay, they're legit. But what's this guy with like the fake gamer tag name, right? And then you start looking at it, it's like, this
Yeah,
guy's obviously cheating. So people will like literally just betray him right off spawn because like Halo players
yeah,
hate cheaters more than anything.
yeah,
So it's like you start cheating, it's like, okay, insta team kill or quit out immediately, no matter what this person has to lose. Like
yeah,
briefing. Yeah.
yeah.
It's so weird, dude. Why are people cheating in video games in 2024?
I don't get it,
How is it
man.
possible?
It's
That's the thing.
2024, Mike. We're
That's
almost 3 weeks into this year. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
that's scary. Yeah.
I mean, that's
What are you
like
gonna have? Yeah.
it's wild, dude. But yeah, COD's taking the best approach ever out of every game, which is kind of
Trolling.
weird to say, but or it's like they're just trolling the cheaters, which I think's the just the funniest way.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Are you a like, do you think aim assist is okay on controller? Are you one of those mouse and keyboard players where you think people who play on controllers have a huge advantage?
Yeah, well, I don't know. See, the thing is, I'm very jaded because I'm not like a super competitive gamer. So like, I'm not like a like if I die to someone on controller, it's like hey, if I learned a controller and like I dedicated time to it, I could probably like get pretty good at it. At least I think in my mind, probably not, but like I feel like it's like for the longest time I haven't been super competitive, and I know I'm kind of an average player, and I just don't dedicate time to try and get better. So it's like it never really
Yeah.
bothered me too much. But I mean, in the debate of controller versus keyboard and mouse, at the end of the day, they both have their advantages and disadvantages. And
Yeah.
like those who are really good, just really go whatever input can make it work. I will say like there's some games that don't make sense to go keyboard and mouse, and I think controller is like the
Oh
way.
yeah.
Um, and like everyone competing in COD, I'm pretty sure everyone uses controllers. If I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's
It's
like one.
it's a requirement in the league,
Right?
which is
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so yeah, I mean, if you're gonna compete, like you might as well use controller. Everyone's using it anyway. So I mean, I feel like there's no real debate for a game like Call of Duty. Now, a game like CS, there's no debate keyboard and mouse is how you have
Yeah,
to play, right? Like, I
I
don't
would
think you
love to see
can
a mouse and
play.
keyboard player
I don't think you
make
can play.
pro.
Yeah, I don't think you can play controller on CS. So that's
Oh,
one of those.
you can.
I mean, I
I
wouldn't
would
want to. I'll
recommend
tell
it.
you that. I don't want to. I feel like if you want to be actually good, like get good at that input. I mean, it's
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 it
game by game, case by case, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's 100% circumstantial. Like I feel the best balance I've ever seen in terms of mouse and keyboard aim assist. Well, yeah, mouse and keyboard and controllers with aim assist was actually Splitgate.
Oh yeah, I
Splitgate
can see that.
probably
Yeah.
had the best balance I think I've ever seen in shooters. Also because there was a whole other element of you had to be able to like port across the map, and your movement meant a lot. So you had a huge movement advantage if you played mouse and keyboard, but then you had a huge assist advantage if you played on controller.
Yeah.
So that like kind of equaled out. There's
Yeah, kind of
like
balance it.
other, yeah. To me personally, I think if you're doing a professional league or franchise league in particular, you have to standardize everything. I think
Yeah.
there should be approved monitors. There should be approved hardware like controllers, cables, button layouts, overall configurations. Like that should all be like stock,
Yeah.
and you can't move it in any which way you want. But
Yeah.
that's not how leagues are.
Yeah, there'd probably be a lot of debate, especially like controllers. There'd be a lot of debate because, like, if you were to try and have like a standardized controller, there'd be a lot of people like that, like, oh, I use that anyway, it's fine, or like, oh,
Yeah.
but I swear, like, I'm like this much better if I use a scuff as opposed to like an Xbox
Yeah.
Elite.
Okay.
But like, and there's a lot of people that they feel like they head case about like, oh, like I need my controller to do well, and it's like if I had to use something else, it's kind of it's
Yeah.
crap. I don't know.
Just adopt. But this is also coming from a guy that has like 12 different types of controllers that I play with regularly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a controller is a controller. You just have to play with it enough times to get used to it. Same thing with mouse and keyboard. I think everything should just be standardized.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. It's like there's like in the NFL or any like US. I guess baseball is the only exception because the fields are different sizes. I think it's different
Yeah, I have no
sizes as
idea.
well in soccer, in English Premier League, and a lot of leagues over in Europe. But like the NFL, they have standard balls, they have standard like
No.
helmet sizes, equipment. I think the cleats are like the only thing they can really change, but it's usually the design.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, most of it, it's like there's Jordans. I see Jordan cleats. I
yeah,
see like I don't know. I don't even know I don't know the other brands that are like typically out there. It's like the one I see like Nike the most, I think. But
yeah,
yeah, it's like but yeah, I mean I think to a certain extent it's important to even the playing field, right? Um
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
for
Competitive
most
integrity means everything.
right. Yeah. And like for a sport like for an active kind of sport like football or basketball, I think it's important to have, either standards around like ball, like so, the balls like you use and some of the
Yeah,
equipment, the padding and stuff like that. I think, obviously like
size
you
of the
need a
court,
helmet, right?
where the
Like
rim's at, like the
yeah,
size of the rim, stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's super important. Basketball is the other thing too, is like there's so many different shoes out there, and so like people are just
yeah,
but a lot of the designs are sick too. So you want to get some sick
right.
like
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm not a shoe head, so I can't like think of a name, but like you want to get some like crazy Jordans or something like that. That's like a weird
sure.
color, then you're allowed to do that, which I think is really cool about. That's something about basketball I like is like they give like besides like the jersey and like the color scheme there, they actually give the players like freedom. I think with their footwear, it kind of gives a little
Yeah,
creativity because like there's like same with like football for instance, like there's like if you I mean there's players that there was a couple players this year that they would wear like color cleats and then they would get fined because it's not that you have to wear a
yeah.
certain color scheme, right?
Yeah, and they sometimes it's actually pretty interesting because they were like, "Yeah, I'll just accept the fine
Yeah,
because this is
which I
what
think I
I."
think is funny. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. They're like,
yeah,
"Whatever."
yeah, yeah. I wish there was more creativity, kind of that aspect sometimes, but yeah, I think it's same for esports though. Like if you're doing a league, like you want some consistency, right? And I think monitors is a good place to start. Like if you want to standardize monitors, great.
Yeah,
Controllers, maybe there's some debate there, but I think, yeah, I certainly would agree with like have some standard hardware at least in terms of like the machine the games are running on and the display. That's output.
yeah.
So
And I guess what I'm referring to is like before we get anybody jumping on us is the professional league.
yeah,
In particular, it's like if you're at home and you're playing matchmaking or whatever, do what you got to
use
do.
what you want. Use what you want, man.
Yeah, do what
So,
you want. But if you're going to like an arena, a tournament, or you're participating in an online league, it's like, yeah, you gotta have everything standardized. You gotta minimize as much as possible the variance. Honestly, I don't think you should be playing any online money matches or like cash tournaments online ever. I
yeah,
feel like internet is just so inconsistent, and
yeah,
in a competitive setting, it's not gonna work for you. Like there's
yeah.
so many different things that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that too. I think. I mean, I get there's debate there, like, oh, not everyone can afford the travel costs and whatnot, blah blah blah. But like, I think too,
Yeah.
like, if you're, I mean, you could probably do like minor money, like little tournament things, but like yeah, if you're doing like something crazy, like you should definitely have that on LAN.
Yeah.
Again, even the playing field, because you can't really do that with online.
Well, true that. Pretty cool to see that Activision Blizzard's actually trolling the cheaters, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah,
But how do you feel about our last article of the episode?
you know,
It's kind of a sad one, but there's not too much to it.
yeah, I tried to avoid it this week, Mike. I ain't gonna lie. I was like looking around. I was like, let's do some
It's impossible to
positivity.
avoid.
Let's do some positivity.
Yeah.
But then I saw from The Verge, Alex Heath. That's my last name. What's good, Alex?
I was gonna say that sounds familiar.
Listen,
We just saw Kyle, and now we got Heath.
not related, by the way. It'd be kind of cool if I had, a cousin or a brother working at The Verge. But I digress. YouTube is the latest part of Google to get hit with layoffs. Oh no.
Tough.
It's tough.
At least it's only 100 people, I guess.
Listen, I saw we didn't cover this because like this is too much of a downer, but I saw a Kotaku article that covered every single layoff in tech thus far this year. It's like we're 3 weeks in, there's like 3,000 plus employees that have gotten laid off.
Yeah, I sent that to you like a LinkedIn post, and it was like, dude, it's like 20,000 people have been laid off in the first 2 weeks of the new year.
It's wild. Listen,
sorry if you guys got laid off.
Yeah, apologies.
It's tough.
Anyways, job cuts continue to roll through Google. Yeah, because that's another thing too. This was not the only division of Google that got hit with layoffs. Like it was much more.
Yeah.
But this time it's about 100 people from the business side of YouTube. YouTube is cutting jobs on the business side of the house, according to a person familiar with the matter. The news was announced internally on Wednesday by Chief Business Officer Mary Ellen Coe. Like Edgar Allan Poe.
I was thinking the same thing. Okay. Cool name.
Good on you, Mary. Only oversees thousands of people working in areas like business operations, partnerships, and advertising. Job cuts have been hitting different parts of Google since last week, with over 1,000 people being laid off. Shortly after that, hundreds more were impacted in Google's advertising division. Like those previous cuts, laid off YouTube employees will have a short window of time to find another role inside the company. They aren't guaranteed one before accepting a severance package. So,
well, at least there's a severance package, and you can try to get a job within the company.
Right. At least they have an opportunity.
Massive.
Yeah, that's the thing. At least they have an opportunity to shift department, possibly, and severance, of course. Which I would hope a company like Google's offering severance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, dude, yeah, guarantee.
That would be ridiculous. Not for severance. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much more really to this article. It's just kind of the narrative that unfortunately is continuing on a weekly basis of just like job cuts still happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we're going to be talking about this, Mike. We're going to be talking about this as one of the running themes this year. And, that sucks.
Yeah. This is actually a theme. So at the bottom of this article, the writer, Alex Heath, you said, at The Verge, reached out to a spokesperson at YouTube, and the response was that the layoffs impacted about 100 roles on the creator partnerships team, which is pretty interesting. So the reason why I say that's a theme is Facebook had recently announced that they're also doing away with the exclusivity and major large contracts with live streamers and content creators. YouTube hasn't officially announced that, although they're going to have it. Twitter announced that. I don't think Kick has announced it. Kick doesn't even care about. They're just in it to lose money, to make money for stake.
Yeah,
that's something entirely different.
That's their whole. They're just a gambling company at that point.
Yeah. So sorry, with the YouTube 100 roles reduced from the creator partnerships program. That's basically like, I would imagine, partner reps that are talking with the creators on a regular basis. I could see that being a case of like, okay, well, we're not going to have exclusive partners anymore. The big partners kind of know what we're going to do, and well, not really know what they're going to do. It's just like they're just going to accept what we're going to do. And I think that's what's changing most about this is the creator side of things. All of it's being impacted, like the live streaming in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting too with the Facebook thing. You touched on of like they're getting rid of the big contracts. And like when I think about it, there wasn't like there's only like two streamers I can think of that got like huge Facebook deals, and that was King Richard, I think. He's like a
Yeah.
old Fortnite creator. He went over there. By the way, when I used to watch his streams, like every now and again, I'd check in his Facebook streams. I mean, he got a bag to go over there, but he was averaging like, I'm not even kidding, like single digit, like 10 viewers. Like it was like nothing.
Yeah,
Just kind of
it's
wild.
Facebook Live dropped the ball big time, but I'll let you finish
Yeah.
your thought.
Yeah. So he was the first one. The second one was Disguised Toast, which I don't know how big
Yes.
his audience was.
Massive.
Yeah, I would assume
Huge.
so because it did because like well, and I also assume that because I saw an article. I think he won Personality of the Year at Esports Awards or one of those award shows.
Yeah.
So like he's obviously like one of the biggest creators out there. But yeah, so I mean that was obviously W with him. But like I think it's kind of like there's the only two I can think of that were like huge, and I'm sure I missed some. But
Wasn't there a GTA role playing person that went over to Facebook?
I think it was a couple.
Yeah,
Can't
I
think of the
that's
names, but
only other one that I can think of.
But yeah, I mean, but like I think we've clearly they clearly see like, oh, this exclusivity stuff isn't really like a model that works for us. So I
Yeah.
think I think it's very smart of them to say like, yeah, you can stream wherever. Like if you want to still stream here, sure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'll give you two examples that I can think of, like personal examples of why Facebook Live is kind of trash now. The first one is that friend of the show, Gunshot, multi-streams on all platforms, and he was trying to
yeah,
multi-stream on Facebook Live or Facebook Gaming, and he encountered an issue where they were forcing him to like verify his identity and putting in his driver's license in order to stream.
what?
Yeah, so he was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore." And he's like,
That's ridiculous.
He's like, "It's not worth the effort to
Yeah,
like try to get in there." My personal experience regarding that is I tried to do the multi-stream thing, and you need a stream key to do that. If anybody's ever streamed before, you need a stream key.
yeah,
In order to get the Facebook stream key, they're generated every time you hit live. So you have to go and get on the website, hit live, and then it auto generates a new stream key, and then you put that in. I'm just like, bro, all I want to do is I want to have a shortcut to open up my chat so I can see it regularly, and then I want to just hit live on my OBS, and then I'm good. That's all I want.
yeah.
And
With a platform like Facebook, that's really all you want. Like,
it's not working, and it's like, okay, so I'm just not gonna post anything to Facebook anymore. It's
why
a waste of
bother?
time. Yeah, it's like Facebook's only really growing in other countries with other languages. They're not going to be looking for an English speaker in North America, so it's like whatever. And if I'm gonna live stream now, it's like, okay, let's just do it on Instagram. And I'm not
Same.
even that interested in posting on Instagram in the first place. So I was like, okay, so Facebook, Instagram isn't for me.
Yeah,
Like we're
same.
just gonna go in a different route, and I think that's what's about to happen with Facebook, which stinks because it's like Facebook gaming could be super successful,
Yeah,
YouTube gaming could be insanely successful, and they could both crush Twitch overnight, but they're just lackluster. There's no vision, or there's maybe just not enough manpower in the engineering side.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a head scratcher because yeah, they could have definitely been successful, but yeah. I mean, then again, like you said, Facebook has other stuff going on, so I'm sure gaming is probably not their highest priority.
No, no, clearly not.
I don't know, but yeah, I think that's it, Mike. I don't know if I had much else. We end on a downer. I'm sorry, everyone. It's kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes with this news stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, especially because the article underneath it is even sadder than this one. I don't want to. I don't want to
Scroll
even talk
down.
about it.
Oh
Yeah,
man, yeah, it gets
it's like,
worse.
yeah, there's a lot of layoffs happening at the start of the year, and it's really unfortunate. Hopefully, it's the fact that like companies don't like laying off before the holidays. Hopefully, that might be it,
Yeah, I don't
or
know.
hopefully, it's not. I don't know. I just wish nobody would get laid off, man. It's tough,
Yeah, yeah,
but everybody
I'm
better get
right
them
there. Yeah.
fat severances at
That's
least.
what I'm saying. It's a nice, yeah. It's an unfortunate reality that like we're just seeing more of,
Hmm.
and it's like for those of us that like have jobs too. It's like I mean, I'm pretty secure with the job I have now, but at the same time, it's just like you just it's hard to tell sometimes, and you just don't know because like you see these big companies laying off. It's like, could you be next? I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping and Yeah, I'm hoping my job's secure. It seems to be secure.
That's what I'm saying.
I still
like,
get recruiters harassing me every day, so
That's
it's
what I'm
like,
saying.
okay.
Like, it's just like, yeah, like my job seems secure, but I don't know. I try
I'm
not to think
sure
about it too
it
much.
seems secure for them too. It's like it's tough,
Yeah,
man.
stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got a buddy who got a raise, and then the next week he got laid off.
yeah, that should be legal. I don't get that. That's wild.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I got to check in on that man, see how he's doing.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
job search going.
yeah, tough.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's really all we got going. Kind of rambled long enough.
Yeah.
Typical hour 15-minute episode. I think what we can wrap up with and just remind people is like we finally got the Discord bots going. We got the RSS feed rocking and rolling. And if you guys join up, you can grab the feeds at any time. The cool thing is like I can edit it however which way I want, but as long as you have that link, it'll update automatically, which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
there's one for mobile
Yeah.
and there's one for desktop. I got to figure out why the mobile doesn't automatically update and I have to have separate links. It's weird, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, you reminded me though of like in front of the Shogun shot. Saying this year we gotta start doing some guests again. I want to try and get something going for
We do.
February, so and we'll have
We
to
do.
talk about it.
Yeah, we really needed to try to reach out to some creators. And if anybody's listening, or like find us for the first time, and you got somebody you might think of, let us know. We'll
Yeah.
reach out to them.
Hey, we're down to we're down to get new people, old
Gotta
faces,
collab.
whatever, dude.
Yes, sir. Make a note real quick. Anyways, let's let the people go. We appreciate you for tuning in. If you want to see all the links, all the articles that we've covered, the links are in the description below. You can check those out along with social media, Discord invite. As I said multiple times, now you're probably hearing a broken record. But yeah, I'm Michael Anthony. It's Kyle Heath. You got anything to add, brother?
Oh, dude, said all I need to say.
All right, cool. We'll just let him go. Take it easy, guys. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Keep gaming. Bye.
Keep gaming.